On July 18, 2011, a police received a call being summoned to attend an accident scene along the Waiyaki Highway. Upon arrival at the scene, he found a female adult with broken skull, fractured legs and hands lying near the edge of the road. She is barefooted. He did not stop the investigation at the point. He walked a few meters away from the body, trying to locate the actual scene of the accident. To his surprise, there was no blood anywhere near where the female victim was laying. Scary enough, the upper part of the woman's skull was missing, and so was her brain. Imagine being months away from graduating from the university with a master's degree and marrying the love of your life, and then sadly, your life is untimely cut short. This was the fate that Mercy Keino encountered back in June of 2011. Mercy Keino was born on the 27th of October 1985 in Nandi County, Kenya. She was brought up in a middle-class family. Her parents were Joseph and Christine Keino. Mercy was the oldest of 3 siblings. She grew up in Nandi County, but her family later moved to Kamagambo in South Nyanza while still at a young age. She studied her primary education there at Kamagambo, but later joined a primary boarding school in Kisii. She joined Kenya High School for Girls, and after excelling well in her Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, she joined University of East Africa, Baraton in Eldoret. Mercy graduated after 4 years with a bachelor's in education. With her relentless love for education, she joined the University of Nairobi to pursue a master's in communication studies, Department of Journalism. Her friends described her in simple words: joyful, kind, charming, and family-oriented, mostly because she had learned all that out of being the firstborn, where she had to set the standards. Her captivating qualities had caught the attention of a man who was head over heels for her, Ronald Kemboi, whose friends called Ronnie. He was an employee for the Kenya Revenue Authorities. Ronnie had proposed to her on March 2010, and she agreed because she too had fallen in love with him. They had plans to move in together and settle as a family. They discussed about having babies too. It would have been a beautiful ride to the sunset. Ronnie had even negotiated for Mercy's bride price at around April 2011 between Mercy's and Ronnie's family. The two families anticipated to wed the couple at around December 2011. Sadly, tragedy would strike in the worst form of evil on the 27th of June 2011. A friend by the name Jackie and a distant aunt by the name Scholastica invited her for an only invites party at around 6:30 in the evening. The party was quite an exclusive one, being hosted by one Maurice Mihango at Wasini Luxury Apartments in Westlands. The two, Scholastica and Mercy, boarded a matatu from Hurlingham. They were later picked by Jackie and some other 2 men at a nearby gas station. The group took a taxi and drove to the Wasini apartments later. By the time they arrived at around 7 p.m., other attendees were already joining the party. The group finally joined the party, attended by a total of 19 people, with them mostly being women. At around 9 p.m., the party was officially underway. Everyone was diving into the fun. Mercy, being a light drinker, took some wine and whiskey cocktails. At around 9:30, Ronnie had received a text from Mercy, letting him know that he would be leaving the party shortly. This was the last time they ever communicated, and sadly enough, The next news he would receive about Mercy was that she was missing. It was revealed that at that same hour of a few minutes to 10 p.m., the then Juja MP William Kabogo arrived at the party. He had come to see one of his friends who were at the party. Kabogo sat on a different table with his friend, but after a while, he joined the table where Scholastica and Mercy were seated in the company of 4 men. Kabogo bought them a bottle of whiskey. Hours unfolded, and most attendees had left. Among the few people left included William Kabogo with the company of Mercy, Aunt Scholastica, and Jackie, the friend who had invited Mercy to the party. At around 1:23 a.m. in the morning, Kabogo, in the company of Scholastica and Jackie, left the table and headed upstairs to a private section within the apartment. Mercy Keino was left with Kabogo's bodyguards behind. Suspicions had been there all through why she was the only one left behind. Maybe the three were up to some business that Mercy herself did not want to be a part of. Mercy was later captured on a CCTV footage walking to the main bar area. She joined some 3 men, and the moment seemed to be merry so far. It seemed as if she was flirting around with one of the men at the table, but he turned her down. She later left him and walked back the same way she came in. She later left the bar area, dragging hands with another man. Unclear where they went to, but later she returned. Mercy Keino seemed a little too out of place. She had even started to smash things around. She knocked down a chair, leaving the bar area, and the group broke into laughter. Mercy had continued to throw a fit. According to a bartender, Leonard, Mercy had kinda gotten out of hand when she threw a glass at him. He was forced to call security, and so Mercy was thrown out of the place. The caretaker would call Mercy's aunt Scholastica from where she was with Kabogo and Jackie to let her know that Mercy was getting out of control. Scholastica quickly walked downstairs to check on Mercy. The camera captured Scholastica with another man bringing Mercy back to the apartment. This is around 2:28 a.m. She was led to the private room where Kabogo, Scholastica, and Jack had been at. A few minutes later, the caretaker, Charles Masharia, stated that he heard screams and commotions. He, Kabogo's guards, and a few employees ran upstairs to the room where Kabogo and Scholastica had been to see what was transpiring. They were shocked to find William Kabogo beating Mercy up, slapping and kicking her, and asking who had invited her to the party. Scholastica and Jackie were screaming at him as they tried to stop him. Charles pleaded with Kabogo to stop beating Mercy. He noted that Mercy was bleeding from the mouth, and Kabogo said that Mercy hit herself on the wall. He was complaining that she had become disorderly, throwing glasses around and wall frame photos carelessly. Charles, during a testimony in the court, said that Kabogo gave his bodyguard some money for them to drag her out of the room and get her a taxi that would drive her home. Here is a footage.
Okay, aliwapatia pesa. Sikujua ni pesa ngapi, lakini sijui ilikuwa kitu 1000 ama 2000 kitu kama hiyo. Tuatoka kapeana ni wakati huo.
Akapeana pesa akisema nini?
Akisema nani amekuja na huyu msichana, nani akiuliza wasichana, lakini sasa amepatia bodyguard yako. Sasa akamwambia akawaambia mpepeni huyu msichana umchukue taksi mumpeleke nyumbani.
Akaendelea akaongea na akauliza wasichana nini?
Akauliza wasichana nani alikuja na huyu msichana.
Kuna mtu alijitokesha?
Kuna mmoja alijitokeza.
Alimweleza nini?
Akamwambia ni yeye alikuja na yeye, ati ni DC yake, alimwambia ni DC yake.
At around 2 a.m., they are captured at the parking area. You can see that Mercy was on the ground, and by the time she stood, she was limping. Possibly she had a broken leg that she had gotten from Kabogo's beating. She is being followed around by her aunt, Jackie, Kabogo, and his bodyguards, forcing her towards the gate. It was alleged that Mercy had grabbed her purse from Scholastica in fury and threatened to tell on her to her mother about the things she does. Mercy did not wait for any taxi. She ran off down the Waiyaki highway. Scholastica requested Kabogo to tell his bodyguards to run after Mercy and bring her back. A witness in court by the name Michael Jenga claimed to have witnessed Mercy during the run. He was driving his girlfriend home alongside with one of his nephews when he encountered Mercy. A lady dressed in a black pants and a black spaghetti had waved at him to stop the car, but fearing for their safety, he did not stop but rather drove away quickly. However, Kabogo's bodyguards finally found Mercy standing by the roadside. They dragged her back to the Wasini apartment's entry, but Mercy was not allowed to go back by the security guards. Scholastica in her statement said that she tried to calm Mercy down, but she was way out of hand. She had begged for Ronnie's number from Mercy for her to call Ronnie to ask him to come and pick Mercy, but Mercy refused. Mercy, in her agitated state, she rather ran off towards the Waiyaki highway, and that's the last time Scholastica saw her alive. Scholastica had tried to beg Kabogo to send his bodyguards to go look for Mercy again, but he refused, complaining that he was sick and tired of Mercy's disorderly behavior. Scholastica quickly reached out for Ronnie later after William Kabogo had dropped her back to her hostel in Nairobi University. She informed Ronnie about Mercy's encounter and how she ran off after being slapped by Kabogo. Ronnie assured Scholastica that he would go looking for Mercy in first daylight in case she would still be out of reach. At dawn, around 4:15 a.m., police officer Thomas Abongi received a call. Someone just reported an accident on the Waiyaki highway. He was the first to respond and arrive at the accident scene. Upon examining the scene, that is when he realized that there was no blood at the scene of the accident and Mercy did not have any personal belongings at the scene. He suspected a foul play. His conclusion was Mercy had been killed elsewhere and dumped there. He made a report to his seniors back at the station as Mercy's body was taken to the city mortuary. That same morning, Ronnie started looking for Mercy together with Scholastica since she did not return to the hostel. They looked for her at the Wasini luxury apartment, police station, and finally at the city mortuary. There, they found Mercy already dead. The police immediately started to investigate into Mercy's case. The first step, the forensic team had an autopsy conducted on Mercy's body. Johannesen Odro, a government pathologist, worked on Mercy's body at the Montezuma funeral home. Reports revealed that she had sustained multiple injuries, bone fractures on multiple areas, and high levels of alcohol in the deceased system. The final part of the report was quite confusing. It indicated that her spleen had shrunk significantly due to blood loss. However, at the scene of the accident, not much blood was found by the investigating officers. As the investigation continued, the police summoned the people present at the party. They were to record their statements at the Parkland police station. On the 20th June 2011, Kabogo and his bodyguards went through for the interrogations at the Parklands. Kabogo came clean saying that He had gotten into a physical dispute with Mercy, but was not responsible for her death whatsoever. Officer Thomas Abongi had recorded a statement with the lady Luciana Morioki, who claimed to have seen a black Benz driving hastily with hazard lights on past her. She had been invited for a meeting by a friend at the Jacaranda Hotel around Wayaki Way when the black Benz drove past her. It identified on the license plate as a KBM 400H. Luciana pointed that she had spotted human legs rolled underneath the vehicle, which to her was odd since she did not witness the vehicle hit anyone. She had noted the license plate to the vehicle and had called the police when Thomas Abongi engaged. With such information about the Mercedes-Benz, the police began to hunt down the car owner. The vehicle was registered under Wycliffe Lugwiri ownership, aka General Defoe. On Monday, 27 June, he turned himself to the police. He denied all the charges. His statement claimed that he had witnessed Mercy's body at the accident scene, but rather swerved the vehicle to avoid hitting it. He added that he tried to call the police, but they did not pick up. His car was held by the police for forensic investigation. However, they did not find any traces of blood, hair, or any evidence that would incriminate him. Two theories arose from these findings: that maybe after all, he did not hit Mercy or carry her body in his vehicle, or since 9 days had already passed since Mercy was found at the scene, maybe the evidence had already been tampered with, probably in a regular car wash. On this same day, when Wycliffe reported to the police station, back at home, Mercy was being laid to rest at her father's home in Cavan, Societe. During her send-off, her family members demanded for justice and speedy investigation into her mysterious and untimely death. Sadly, that was a wish that was never to come true. Japhet Mwangi, the leading investigator, on Wednesday, 29 June 2011, he visited the scene of the accident where Mercy was found dead. That is almost 2 weeks after the gruesome death. The move did not bear much of a result, even after he had managed to collect some blood samples from the scene. The delay had been quite a long one, and so any possible forensic evidence at the scene had already been cleared or tampered with. The samples that they managed to collect at the scene could not be used to draw a conclusive report on whether Mercy died on the spot or had been killed elsewhere and then brought to the accident scene. Suspicious enough, Japhet Maingi did not have a chance to look at the full CCTV coverage to determine the events from when Mercy entered the Wasini luxury apartment. Additionally, the employees who were there during the night of Mercy's death had already been transferred, and so he did not have a chance to question them. The authorities could not associate any individual or a group of people with Mercy's death. This rose suspicion to the Director of Public Prosecution at that time, Keriako Tobiko. He wrote a letter to the Nairobi County Criminal Investigation Department boss, Peter Mwindi. He requested for the reopening of Mercy's case and be held at the Mirimani Law Court. The inquest was granted and her case was reopened on the 5th September 2011 before the principal magistrate, Peter Ndwiga. 47 witnesses were brought before the judge. Among the witnesses, there was Senior Superintendent John Otieno. Otieno highlighted that the party appeared to be an escort party where older men were seeking company of younger women. He added that the party had been advertised on social media platforms, inviting only young ladies. However, his statement made it clear that out of those findings, they could not link Mercy's death to an individual or a group of people in the party or outside. The only applicable theory according to him was that Mercy had taken too much alcohol that night. She got out of hand and ran off among the traffic where she was hit by a speeding motorist. meeting her death. But still, a question that was never answered was, why had Mercy become disorderly? People made assumptions that she had realized unfit business is going on with her Aunt Scholastica, and so she did not approve of it. The inquest also proved that Kabogo had indeed slapped Mercy and that she was bleeding and had an injured leg, but it was her choice to run off into the Waiyaki highway where she met the accident. The troubling question was whether the bodyguards tried to go after her, since there was no way she could outrun them while drunk. According to Officer Thomas Abongi, his stand remained that, being the first officer who reported at the scene, it was clear that Mercy had been killed elsewhere and her body brought to the scene. Her belongings, including the shoes and the purse, were missing at the accident scene. He concurred with the claims that Mercy had been hit by several cars at the scene, since there was very little blood, almost none, at the crime scene. For Johannesson Ojuo, Mercy's pathologist, he said that, depending on the little evidence collected at the scene, it was hard to clearly determine if Mercy was hit at the scene or had been killed elsewhere and her body brought to the scene. For William Kabogo, he testified before the court, defending himself that he did not beat Mercy up to a point where she bled. He admitted to have tapped her cheek and shook her but did not injure her. He claimed that the allegations of wounding and injuring Mercy were just plot to ruin his reputation. He denied to have been having a good time at the party, but rather had gone to meet up with a friend.
We had a meeting there for, say, half an hour, 45 minutes, and then we joined the rest of the group that we were with, and we had ordered for dinner. And across two tables, there were a couple of ladies, and asked them to join if they could. They agreed, and we sat together, we had dinner and drinks, until the restaurant bar was closed. All of a sudden, she started breaking things, anything that she came across, photo frames, pictures. And then I stood up and I got her by the shoulders and I shook her and I asked her what's wrong with her. And she was like she had lost it. So I tapped her on the face and I said, what is wrong? How did you come here? Who are you? What is it? What is wrong with you? And then she recollected herself, and by that time, from the noise she was making, people from downstairs came. They picked her. I asked them whether they can help her get home.
However, Kabogo was only lying, since a number of people who were present at the party testified that he had indeed assaulted Mercy. The CCTV footage also showed him having some really good time with the women. One more instance of inconsistency emerged when the CCTV footage presented to the presiding judge, Peter Ndwiga, was incomplete. It did not contain the whole coverage from when Mercy entered into the Wazini luxury apartment up to the time she took off. The premises happened to have a total of 6 cameras, but only 2 of the 6 were presented before the judge. He ended up discrediting the authenticity of the CCTV footage, and that missing out of the only chance that could have shown what exactly did Kabogo take Mercy through. His grounds were that it was incomplete. He requested for a fresh presentation of the CCTV footage only when it was complete. Mercy's death was finally based on 3 possible theories, that is, only by the public. 1. She could have been hit by a car after she ran off to the Waiyaki highway since she was drunk. But the mystery is, why was there no blood at the accident scene? And then 2. She could have been killed elsewhere and her body brought to the highway to make it appear as if it was a road accident, and that she might have discovered some dark secrets about someone, secrets that needed to remain safe, some deals maybe, and so silencing her was the only option. On the 7th October 2016, 4 years later, Senior Principal Magistrate Peter Ndwiga at Kehancha Law Courts in Migori County, where he had been recently transferred to, officially closed the inquest into the case of Mercy's death. He stated that out of the evidence review he had been presented with, he could not associate any of the people mentioned during the case, William Kabogo included. He claimed that the last and reliable evidence showed the victim rushing up to the busy Waiyaki highway, where she ran into a speeding vehicle, leading to her fatal death. We strongly wish and hope that Mercy's beloved family will find peace and one day get closure about what exactly happened to their sweet daughter and sister. May her soul rest in eternal peace.